Hi and welcome to a second lightning video talk. We've done one about 10 months ago about using Docker and containers from the Docker project to show how Debian binaries can help installing complex packages, particularly tidyverse and rsten with a single command. That is still out there. Today is April 11th, which means we're less than 2 weeks away from the launch of R400, and testing is really important for early releases and the changes that they bring. As the Debian maintainer for R, I had made releases available 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and yesterday, corresponding to when Peter Dargat cut releases. Starting with the first alpha, the second alpha, and yesterday the first beta release. And I figured in order to get those into hands of people, it probably will help a little to have a more complex set than just the R binary itself. We need at least the recommended packages. So I completed some of the PPAs, and in this short video I'm going to show how we can use these. So I'm actually typing this live, and this will now take about a minute or so to complete, and I'll explain what's happening with the support slides while this is happening. So as we're backing up, as I said in the intro, this was last June. Quick walkthrough through Docker and PPAs. The slides are still there, as is the video, and you will find the links where you find a link to this one, or otherwise on my website under talks. Now, R400 is coming, and here we're going to use the same Ubuntu-based Docker container using the current LTS release 1804. It's very stable, used in many places. You can use it in the cloud, continuous integration service, and other places. And I set up a new personal package archive PPA, which one can for R400. Because packages for R400 will need a rebuild. We can install the new version, but your old packages will not be usable. So that's a bit of a break. So if you install the new R, your current setup may be affected. And that is really a pretty terrific use case for containers, because we can do all this work in the containment provided by such a container image. So what we've done just a second ago was to actually go in and run the 1804 last long-term release, long-term support release. A new one's coming up, but the old 1804 one, and then ran these two commands of updating and upgrading. Why is that needed? Well, whenever such a release is cut, it takes a snapshot of the packages as they are available at the time, and they may age a little. So as we've seen here, it installed a couple of hundred or so. I'm on normal US retail broadband, so it takes a minute and a half. And just by getting the index updated and the packages upgraded, where I said yes to not have to prompt when an upgrade command follows, that has all happened. So we are now current, as you can see. There's, for example, the Michael Rutter provided backport of R363 that I otherwise stick into Debian. But now we're going to do one further. We're going to add a new PPA repository, which on Ubuntu is made really easy with this add repository command. And repository handles are a bit like GitHub repo handles. There's the user and then the repo. So this is under my user ID, which at Launpad is just a short EDD, not editable as on GitHub, and I named this R40 because it corresponds to what we have to build for the binary version of R40. And I just put a yes, PPA, not PPP, there we go. Put a Y in there to automatically accept the taken the type repository, otherwise you have to confirm. And now we're just going to do the upgrade real quick, and this is actually quite informative, because while this is running, we will see that all the downloads that are happening are coming in fact from this repository, because we had just updated the state of the container to be current with everything else. And now by having added this repository, we basically have a new delta for the package space, and these new packages come in. So this again will take a short little moment. Many of these binaries were only built today, so they may not be on a content delivery network and cached and network closed, so it's just downloading this stuff. But in a moment we should have these. Oh yeah, sorry, I was a bit confused by my own version number here, but this is just a convention I adopted a long while ago. This is a pre-release for R400, and so that the sorting occurs naturally and properly once 400 is out. I name these pre-releases with the date appended to the normal release. So this comes after release 363 and corresponds to 2020-0409 yesterday, and that one's now installing along with all the base and recommended packages. And when we're in here and now fire up R, we do indeed see that it's 400 beta as of yesterday. Now I used this alias, which I basically just got tired of writing the really long form I would type each and every time. So docker run remove all remnants, i.e. clean up when it's finished, with a TTY interface in interactive work. So you basically want to have Rocker as a shell, as a front end, rather than a daemon running. And these two commands at the end basically mount an outer directory to an inner directory and then change into this directory. So when I do this, I actually start in the directory work, and that is exactly where I was a second ago. And that was my Git home directory. So I am now on top of all my source directories, and we're going to take a simple package with few dependencies and just work through an R command check test. So this now corresponds to testing for R400, and here it tells me, because I'm in a fresh installation, we have seen what was there, which was really just the base packages, that the suggest package is not yet available. So we have to revise how we're checking the package by setting that toggle wrong. Then everything's running quite fine, but it will crash and burn in just a second, because these containers I typically set up to be narrow, without a full tech installation, to be a little smaller and nimbler. So now we revise the check command one more time by also saying no manual and no vignettes, and now it should just run through and complete its run. All it is saying now is, oh, there's one package that is suggested that we could use. So let's just see what that would take, because that is also illustrative of something you may encounter when you actually want to test your package with has dependencies. I'm using a little front end to installation here because I like working on the command line, and then install.r just has a repo set and does a couple of other preferences. This, of course, is a package out of a universe where dependencies are not uncommon. So it now goes belly up, but it follows this scheme that Jeroen had started a while back of clearly labeling which packages are needed when a configuration fails. So here we just need to give ourselves libssl and libcurl. That's done. So it's an Ubuntu system, so they're easily available. So I just installed those as a system level. Previously, whoami depended on 10 other packages. 4 of those failed because of the missing dependencies. Now they're here, and now I can go back and review the R command check that we had. We no longer have to suppress suggested packages, but I'm still running it narrowly because here I chose not to have tech live installed, and I didn't bother with tinytech. But now the suggest is no longer there, and we get our desired result of being okay under R400. So that would be an example of jumping into a Docker container, updating it, and running this work. because 1804 is very stable, it's good to have this, but with Ubuntu 2004 being on the horizon and being released actually a day before R4.0, I also prepared a Docker container for 2004. That one's currently building at the hub, so I can't actually run it, but you should be able to do that in a few hours and sort of by tomorrow. So this was just basically what we were running, and I then just gave a hint to certain command refinements still being needed. And yes, so this one will be available maybe as early as tomorrow, and that really concludes what we had in this short walk around and video. So please, if you can, try to test R4.0 before it comes out and adjust your packages or file bug reports. It's already 2 weeks into the 4-week test cycle, and I think we all should, do our part in making sure that this will be a smooth and successful release without any surprises. That was all for today. Thanks for listening in.